guys! First of all, I'd like to start out by just saying I'm so excited that we all ended up in a group together, and I'm excited to be working on this project with you guys together. This is just a Prezi I had created for The World is My Campus, I think 2 semesters ago. I've done lots of different approaches to this idea, so I was just letting you guys know this is obviously subject to change, and I know you guys had talked about saying the world is my campus. I am very flexible, but I'm just excited to be working on this with you guys. So I wanted to start out by telling you the story of how I came up with this idea, because I think it's really important just to understand where I'm coming from. So I graduated high school in 2012, May of 2012. I took a gap year between high school and college, just a year off, to travel and do some service missions work. And so I had never even flown in a plane before. And I decided I wanted to move to Europe for a couple months and continue studying French, which I had done in high school. I wanted to continue it and just experience travel for the first time. But the problem is that I had no money. So I decided to ask everyone that I knew if they had contacts in Europe who I could work for. And I wound up finding this very sweet family in North Normandy in a place called Caen in France. And I got on the plane. I landed in France. It was my first plane ride. And I lived in France for several months. Then I had a job in Germany. And I loved it. I absolutely loved the adventure that came with each day and learning French, picking up a little bit of German. I loved it. And after that year of travel and doing some missions work, I moved to an actual college campus, and in the fall of 2013, and I lived there for a school year. And throughout the entire time that I was there, I was contacted by people from all over the world wanting me to work for them like I had worked for the French and the German family. I had been an au pair for both of them, so it's kind of like a short-term nanny. So they had an extra room. I stayed in their extra room. I helped them take care of their kids. I went on vacation with them. I helped their kids with their English. I drove them to school. I was just a part of their family. And so that was my life in Europe during my gap year. Then when I was in college, people continued. I would get sometimes 5 or 6 families contact me every day during that year that I was living on a college campus. And I desperately wanted to start accepting the jobs. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to have to wait till the summer. And I was just thinking, this is just awful. I have so many opportunities, and I can't take any of them. And so I ended up, I was like, you know, I've got to figure out an alternative. So I decided at the end of the year, I was like, you know what, I've given it a year, and I'm not doing this anymore. But I did want to continue my degree, so I switched to online classes, and I started accepting some of the jobs. And through the travels, I visited 15 countries, and I speak 4 languages: English, French, and then some Italian and Spanish. And so some of the countries that I've been to, let me see. So this one is, I got to see Hawaii on my way to Australia for a few jobs ago. I wound up going to, I had a 1-month skiing trip in Whistler, Canada with one of my families that I've worked for. This is actually where I just moved back to. I'm back in the Turks and Caicos. And it's an island in the Caribbean, and it's my favorite place in all the world that I've ever been. And I have just so enjoyed coming back. I also lived in France twice. I worked for that same family twice, the first time of all my jobs. And then I went back to work for them about a year or 2 later. I had my job in Germany. I had a job in Italy, and then I visited Austria and England during my time in Europe. On my way back from Australia, I stayed with friends in Chiang Mai, Thailand, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and Beijing, China. And I had a job in Australia for 7 months. It was actually in Melbourne. This picture is obviously from Sydney. And I got to visit New Zealand and see Hobbiton during the time I was in Australia. And, okay, disregard that. So, going back to, hold on just a minute. So anyway, that is kind of where I'm coming from. So I have done all of this while getting on my college degree online, completely online, and it's come. Everyone I meet is just like, "Wow, this is great. How do you do it?" And I honestly compared to, first of all, I'm getting in-state tuition. So North Carolina in-state tuition while I'm traveling. So my tuition is very manageable. Because I'm taking online classes, as you guys know, you're only charged per credit hour. And on top of that, instead of doing, a school-funded study abroad trip where you pay your tuition and you have to pay to go with a group, and it's a package deal, which is normally averages about a semester abroad. I think as of last year, it was about $20,000 to $25,000 each semester. And because I have jobs wherever I go, I go wherever my jobs take me. So that funds all of my travels. And again, I'm paying the in-state tuition. So it's been such a great thing, and I would love to share it with other people through a business. So all that to say, that was kind of the background. And these are my two options that I'm thinking through. And please feel free to give me feedback. I really am looking forward to hearing your ideas. So these are I have basically two options I was thinking of. So the first one, we would create kind of a center of resources, a database. And it would be a website that, we would create a database basically with jobs from like au pair jobs. We would pull the jobs from Workaway. We would do like tour guides. We would do sports instructors. All of these jobs from all different websites, from resources, from just our networking. We would pool it all and create a database. So we would partner with travel bloggers just to kind of promote our idea. We could create forums where the students who would be traveling and taking online classes could find travel buddies. So for example, when I was in France, I happened to find a girl who was in the next town over, and we got to travel some together. And when you're traveling abroad, and she happened to be an American, and so when you're traveling, it really is great to have somebody who, you can go on a weekend trip to Barcelona or whatever. And so that is something I think would be really cool, to create a forum where the students who are going through or using our database, living abroad while doing online classes, the students could find travel buddies to travel with. There are two different ways I was thinking we could bring in revenue with option one. So the one idea I was thinking, if we had monthly subscriptions to our website, so they would pay a flat fee every month and have access to our resources. The other option, we could make it free for users, for the students, and then rely on ads. So yeah, those are my two ideas. The option two, which is a much more hands-on approach, would be to create, again, have the website, but it would be less information on the website, kind of giving people an idea of who we are, that we're designed for students wanting to travel, obviously at a lower cost. And we would have advisors. So basically the students could, browse our website, get ideas of what we could offer, and contact an advisor who would then interview the student, kind of get an idea of what they're wanting, and walk them through each step, finding a job, finding accommodation, booking travel, organizing trips, etc. The advisor would be right there with them, walking through every step along the way. There would also be, also in addition to the advisor, there would be an in case of emergency person. So if there was any time where the students had a problem while abroad, they would just have to call this number, and that person would be there and help them figure out a solution to whatever problem they had. There would also be there would also be kind of an office where the students could, basically this office would take care of any transfer credits or all of that. So for example, if a student was taking classes, well, this would be an easy example. So Western Carolina University, they were living on campus. This particular office would help the students switch to find online classes necessary for their major, and that would be, obviously an easy solution. They would be familiar with the state regulations. So, for example, I know that for last semester, Western did not provide all the credits that I needed, so I wound up doing a BUNC exchange program. So I took a class through East Carolina. So that is my limited knowledge. But this office would have a better understanding of how all of that would work, like sort of transferring credits, loopholes, all of that, just to make it an easy transition for the student, whether they want to do fully online classes for all 4 years, or they want to just spend a semester and want to transfer back to their on-campus university, going through all of that. I also thought it would be interesting if, especially in this situation, with the more hands-on approach, if the students who traveled through our program were required to create some type of blog or some type of feedback, so that we could have feedback from them, kind of keeping tabs on what they're doing, where they are, and just so that we would have, not only so that we would have some feedback from them, but that they would have the memories, because sometimes you just forget. So maybe if they were required to create a blog, post a certain number of times per month or something, and then that blog would be associated with our website and would help other prospective students gain a better understanding of opportunities that we offered. So again, this would be specifically designed for for American college students wanting to travel at lower costs. And this would include both students who are wanting to do a fully online program for all 4 years, as well as students who just want to take a semester or 2, or maybe even 3. We would accommodate them based on that, but it would be limited. The classes that they would take while living abroad would be limited to online classes from the U.S. because I think it would be very complicated if we had to work with foreign universities just because of the transferring credits and everything. So I look forward to hearing your feedback. Please feel free to alter any of my ideas. I just wanted to throw this out there, and I look forward to hearing from you guys. Have a great weekend.